I would like to know a little bit about PARI because it has been working since 2014, and there's a lot of archiving of language, folklore, everything. Sitting in Delhi or anywhere in India, I'm able to see what the life of an Apatani in Zero or a Dongya Kud in Niyamgiri. So other than and archiving this, I want to know like the relation between how, because PARI is an organization that works very close to the real India other than referring to the rural India. So like for farmers in Maharashtra, and not only in Maharashtra, anywhere in India, there is Pradhan Mantri Beam Fasal Yojana or insurance for all, everything for farmers, but nothing has been implemented. So working very close to the real India, maybe the agrarian crisis of farmers in Maharashtra or the rural issues in Orissa. How far PARI is successful in making these people aware what are their rights, everything?
We are small, but everything that you're talking of doing, we are doing.
Yes.
We are doing. Let's say in a film we made of a song in the anti-POSCO movement, Are Re Nirlojo POSCO Company Pherija Dakshina Korea, that became an anthem amongst the anti-POSCO agitationists. You know, it went back, we sent DVDs there, it became an anthem. Purna Das, a Dalit, singing in a extempore song composed on the spot. Yeah? It became it became a very widely sung song. We had that impact. Now we are doing something that is having a huge impact in terms of the Grind Mill Songs project. 1,10,000 songs by women in Maharashtra, poor women in villages, singing while at the chakki, the grind mill. This was not our creation. It was the creation of a joint Indo-French team in the 80s, and Professor Hema Rairkar and Guy Poitevin, a Frenchman, together took down all the transcripts of these songs. Not all of them were recorded, and the few that were recorded on cassette tapes. So this is a gigantic amount of work. Now, but we are doing something more. One of the surviving members of the original exercise came to me, a Frenchman, Bernard Bell, and asked us through a professor at Ashoka University, Gilles Vernier, who actually told me about the whole thing in the first place, would you like to take over the project, because it's just dying on the EU's, in the attics of the EU's European Union's website. So we took it over. Now Namita Vaikar, managing editor of PARI, is in charge of this project. She is going back to the villages. In our lifetime, we'll never do all of it, but she's going back to the villages, finding the women, now trying to get them recorded, not just the transcript, and not only getting them to record it, but sing other songs, other OVs as well. Yeah. In many cases, you go back, the woman is 20 years older, the chakki has disappeared because they've got an electrical appliance in the better off villages, they have electrical appliances. So the chakki has disappeared. We are doing one more thing. We are giving, unlike in India, normally in India, anything that comes from the countryside, the village, is anonymous. Here we give a real projection to the woman performer. And we give any data that she wants to share. She says, I am from this caste, we carry that. She says, I'm a Dalit, I'm a Maratha. Whatever information she is happy to share, so you're getting a full profile of the artist. You're giving that sculpture, by the way, that you give the due acknowledgement to the artist. That's one thing we're doing. Second thing, we are taking the song, splitting up those large files where there are 9-10 songs. We are then there are this translation team, which is sort of volunteer team but paid for by PARI, now led by an 80-year-old lady in Pune, who's doing this sheerly for the love of the culture. And she is, these songs are then translated into English and French, by the way. And we are carrying the Marathi song, the transliteration, Devanagari Roman, the translation in English, an annotation, a story about the song, and the profile of the woman. And it's proving to be exhilarating, and they are affected by it. Okay. In the afternoon, in the morning today, when at NewsClick's new office inaugural, I mentioned about the freedom fighters whom we covered. Captain Bao, the oldest of them, has written about us. He says, PARI has restored dignity and pride to my life. He said, nobody in my village, my younger generation never knew anything about who I was. Now they see this film and I'm getting such respect. In the last years of my life, in the last chapter of my life, he says, you're doing something for me which makes the young people of my village look at me with so much attention and respect. So we're trying for that. We're doing it. How we get big is also a limitation of our resources when we are doing it in Indian languages. We are publishing in up to 12 Indian languages. We're regularly publishing in Assamese, and we've even published a couple of pieces in Mizo, and we are doing that. So I think we're doing all the things you're talking about, and I think we are having a huge impact offline as well. Online, we are limited by resources and personnel. We are limited by the fact it's volunteer driven, and it's very difficult to organize 1,700 volunteers we've got, highly skilled, well working. The other thing I want to say is when you said the Apatanis at ground zero or the Brokpas in Arunachal, what we are now aiming for, and you will already see the product on PARI, but in 10 years you will see the difference. We want those people to do the journalism. We want the Apatanis to do the journalism. We have been carrying photo essays, I'm sure you've seen, from forest dwellers of Bandipur. The photos are taken by the Adivasi women.
Moved from being the subject.
Yeah, they've moved from being the subject. I think that's the way we have to go. Representation that's how we are going to be inclusive in culture also. I'm saying that I think my major aim is to get into the schools and colleges. PARI is meant to be a textbook, a living textbook written by one generation of students for the next. Now in the Faces project we have, 80% I think of the photographs are taken by students who are 18 to 22 years old. So they are getting involved and we're finding it has a huge impact on them. We don't just ask you to take photographs of agricultural laborers. We ask you to converse with that woman, find out about her life, give us some data. I'm getting tearful letters and calls from the young girls who have gone out to do that, saying, can I write more about this person? Her life is fascinating. I never knew that such things happened. I never knew that people lived like this. It's forcing the photographer to step outside his or her caste and class skin and engage with a woman agricultural laborer, the poorest of the poor. And it has a certain dynamic. So we want that also. If we get the kind of, we need that kind of a push in different parts of the, interestingly, even the corporate media, its few spaces have written about the grind mill project, about a couple of other projects. They've written about it, but we need a lot more exposure. Our understanding is whenever we have done a demo of PARI, we do a PARI demo, immediately there's a spike. When people know of us, they like us. Getting them to know of us is the challenge.